Dear students, I hope you can see the screen properly. Okay. The screen is visible. Okay, let's start. Very important chapter, education and health. Okay. Let's start with Economic Survey 2025-26. This is chapter number 11. We have seen chapter 10 till this point. I hope everyone has seen those chapter and you are with me. Now here, most important thing that all the previous 10 chapters that we had discussed one by one for approximately 60 to 90 minutes. Now we are entering into the next phase, that is the social sector. Okay, health and education, two important things which India is required. Why? Because India will now age from now on, and education is important for our demographic dividend. Okay, so here the question arises, what we need to do as a government and as a citizen in education and health, and what works and what's next. So we'll see from this perspective how we are going to understand from this perspective. Okay, let's see. Because whenever we talk about education and health, it is always about access to outcome. Okay, it is always about access to outcome. Okay, so access to outcome means first you provide access, and then those who have access, what's the outcome of that? It means from spending to effectiveness. Government is spending a lot on education and health, but what is the effectiveness? Okay, so here this is the most important thing. Like for example, whenever you see any budgetary allocation, okay, whenever you see budgetary allocation, we have three terms always you must have seen. When we discuss budget, we will do that as well. Outlay, then output, and then outcome. Okay, outlay always in numbers, these many crores allocated to that. Output, these many people enrolled or get benefited. Outcome, these many lives transformed with that scheme. Okay, so this is the difference between outlay, output, and outcome. Although this is the major portion of budget that we will be discussing separately in the budget, but education and health is a pillar, of human capital. Okay, here you can say pillars of human capital, social well-being and economic growth. So this is a core shift. Why human capital now matters more than ever? Because India is experiencing demographic dividend. And if that dividend will not be converted, it means that demography, if not be converted in a proper dividend, it will become a liability. And that liability will hurt our nation. So in the same sense, if we can see, survey opens this chapter with a certain structural proposition. What is that structural proposition? We need to understand. Right now, if you see in a technological driven service led economy, okay, Indian economy is like technologically driven. Okay, if you want, you can write this as well. Technological driven service led economy. Now the growth depends less on how much capital a country accumulates. Okay, growth depends less on how much capital a country can accumulate and more on how well its people are prepared. That's what economic survey says about. India is having three things. One is young population, rising aspiration. Okay, everyone having a positive outlook towards the economy. Everyone wants to grow, like you, my dear aspirants, for the UPSC exam. You want to grow in life, that's why you're working hard. Aspirations are there. And then we have expanding digital infrastructure. Digital infrastructure. So here you can say UPI, Jandan Aadhaar, mobile, Jam Trinity, buying and selling happening on e-commerce. So digital infrastructure is expanding. But demographic advantage pays off only when you have education and health outcomes if they improve. So survey says that human capital is no longer a social sector. It's a macroeconomic growth variable. Remember yesterday's chapter that we were discussing about environment. It's not environmental concern only or related to climate. It was also macroeconomic growth variable. So India has notable progress in public health, especially we can say post-COVID. Okay, improved access to preventive, curative healthcare, reduction in infant and maternity mortality rates. So this is very, very important. And this is very, very heartening as well. When you have infant and maternal mortality rates very high. Expanding immunization coverage. Okay. Strengthening primary healthcare, especially in the remote regions. Key initiatives such as Ayushman Bharat, National Health Mission. Okay, Ayushman Bharat, you know that the health insurance that they are having. Disease control programs have contributed significantly. So India has seen huge amount of changes and the upgradation. But there are several challenges as well. So we'll see those challenges as well. But here in education, the access problem is largely solved in education. People have access to education. But the problem is only one thing. What's the problem? Problem is that major achievements already there, increasing literacy rates, higher enrollment, expansion in vocational education, right to Education Act, RTE Act, launch of National Education Policy 2020, focusing on access, equity, quality, innovation. Okay, so things are there, but survey acknowledged that India largely achieved near universal school enrollment, expanded higher education capacity, as I have told you, improved gender parity as well. Okay, male female ratio. Widespread digital access is also providing in the remote areas. Like if you see in the last 12 months, continued expansion of digital learning platforms. Okay. Digital learning platforms. Online certification programs, NEPTL, you must have seen that. So the educational challenge is no longer how many children are there in the school. Okay, how many children are there in the school is not a challenge. But the challenge is what they are learning. You must have seen those videos where a 7th, 8th class student can't write their name even. So what are they learning? That's the challenge. Okay, what are they learning is the challenge now. That's the problem. Okay. Now this chapter examines educational role in human capital development, community participation, classroom reforms, vocational and internationalization efforts in education, health challenges such as obesity, digital addiction, policy pathways for future improvement. These are the things that this chapter examines about India's education sector. Okay. As I told you, the real crisis is also there. The real crisis is about weak foundational literacy. Okay, we will discuss that. Like learning gap widened after COVID. So most of you must have experienced graduation or post-graduation during COVID period. And if you are one of them, write me in the chat box. You must have realized that the college education is very important. Whether you will learn or not, but yes, that lockdown impacted your personality development. So it was like from directly from the school to the competitive examination world. So education enhancing quality and access. So school education is the foundation of human capital. central to achieving Vikasit Bharat of 2047. Nearly 27% of Indian population is in 3ZX18 group, a major demographic advantage. Okay. India's education index in HDI remains modest due to lower expected years of schooling, that is 13 years, compared to global peers. And expected years of schooling is also 15 years. So it was envisioned under NEP of 2020. So strategic importance is there. But again, as I told you, the foundation is weak. Learning gaps widened and other problems like mismatch between education and employment. So policy push under NEP. These are the features. So if the question comes in the examination about NEP, 3 to 18 है बेटा, है ना? Early childhood care, education, foundation literacy, numeracy, reducing dropouts, universal access, curriculum assessment reforms, teacher capacity building, integration of vocational and digital skills, and institutional reform in higher education. These are the things NEP is pushing. But I don't know, the success of NEP will only be visible after certain years. Okay. So here, if you see, NEP is doing great. Policy push is there. What about the outcomes? So years of schooling we have, but without learning, do not create any kind of productive human capital. Do not create. That's the problem under NEP. If you see in school infrastructure, okay, so important data for you, and especially in the gross enrollment ratio. So foundation stage, preparatory stage, middle stage, and secondary stage. This is enrollment ratio. You can remember some of the facts with approximate figures. Okay. Now here India runs one of the world's largest school system. 25 crore students, 14 lakh schools, 1 crore teachers. So government school constitutes 70% of total schools. Okay. But we need to think from the input to output ratio as well. Okay. Like for example, employer survey I was reading someday consistently highlight that there is a skill gap. Even among the recent graduates, skill gap is there. So in the college level, like for example, if you are doing graduation, that's a very struggling part. But even if you are doing post-graduation degree like MBA, people teach entrepreneurship that those are not entrepreneur themselves. Okay. You have brilliant infrastructure, but the problem is you don't have teachers. Someday you have teachers in some other college, but you don't have infrastructure. So whenever you are studying, I don't know you are studying or not, you have just completed your studies. But when you are doing, suppose for example, a master degree, which is a specialized professional degree like MBA, you will see there's a lot of struggle. Teacher teach similar subjects and the paper come as a predictable paper. So what they teach, they ask the same. There's no development. And when it comes to placement, how poorly our colleges perform, especially in the master's degree. Okay. So introduction to APAR ID, that is Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry, Aadhaar based academic identity, tracks enrollment and academic progress. This is important because if you don't do the tracking, how government will get to know what's going on? Support seamless transition across schools, higher and skill education. Okay. Nikhil is saying, sir, don't remind me about such things. I'm not reminding you, only you. It is the situation. It's a situation for everyone. Like when you ask your fellow classmates, those who are attending, you know, co-located Anganwadi centers, 3 lakh crore school, 3 lakh school, sorry. Bal Vatikas presently in almost 2.5 lakh villages. 52.8% government schools with grade 1 now have some preschool facility. Even why are you going here and there? You see the status of government schools in Delhi. Obviously, that depends on government and the people both. But false promises done in the last 10 years also we have seen, especially in the education sector. So, from inputs to outputs, we need to rethink our education policy. Like previously, where we were focusing, the old focus one is spending levels. You spend on education and education will flourish. You build infrastructure, education will come automatic. You increase the teachers' number, you will get the increment in the education. No. But right now, what is required? What is required is learning outcomes. If somebody is learning something, what are those outcomes? And whenever I teach any module, if you remember, I always teach that after this you will get this. Remember my answer writing sessions for UPSC. I always tell learning outcomes. Okay, teacher quality. So there are number 1 crore teacher, but what's their quality? Are they really studying or upgrading? The answer is no. Curriculum relevance. Curriculum is there, but the curriculum is not relevant. I also go to many board of studies where they call me as an industry expert to upgrade the syllabus. But when I give them suggestion, they do not agree because new subjects teacher has to adopt and they have to teach. So they just want that whatever is going on, you just sign and go. So I stopped going there. Next is accountability. So 4-pronged focus we need. Okay, the focus we need is about learning outcomes, teacher quality, learning outcomes, teacher quality, curriculum relevance, and accountability. These 4 things we need. So, national push towards foundational learning outcome based educational framework that we need. So, education system must be evaluated by learning outcomes, not enrollment ratio. By after attending your college, did you get anything? Like, what are the learning outcomes of our economic survey? Now you understand every sector of Indian economy. You understand services, you understand manufacturing, you understand agriculture, you understand inflation, you understand monetary policy, fiscal policy. So we have touched almost every sector of the Indian economy. What's the outcome of learning economic survey? Now you know what went right or wrong in the last 1 year of economic survey coverage region. Okay, so you can say PM Shri schools. So these are factual information. You can use that in the fodder of your answer. Okay, so NEP aligned like smart classroom, ICT labs, ICT information communication technology, digital libraries, integrated science labs, skill education, sport infrastructure, green practice, and eco clubs. Okay, so these are the things. Target was this already established. Residential and inclusion focused infrastructure. Kasturba Gandhi Balika Vidyalayas upgraded these many schools up to grade 7th, we can say. No, sorry, grade 12th. PM Janman supports 75 PVTGs with hostel expansions. 500 hostels approved. 692 tribal hostels sanctioned under Dharti Aba जनजातीय ग्राम उत्कर्ष अभियान. Okay, Jagriti, what you are asking? CR, what are you asking on the previous slide? No. Achha, that was curriculum relevance. Okay. Learning outcomes, teacher quality, curriculum relevance, and accountability. So you can see improvement in the basic facility. Basic facilities like drinking water, separate toilets for girls and boys, and electricity coverage, libraries and reading rooms, medical checkups, ramps and handrails for differently abled individuals, computer and internet access, playground facilities. These are basic facilities. An improvement we have seen from this to this. Okay. And I've seen this from eyes, obviously not for all the schools, but I visited several schools for lecture and all. I keep on visiting. So for lecture, like I went in a school for teachers training. So I was teaching teachers there how to be more interactive so that your class students would love to attend. So that was the topic of teachers training, I think 6 months back. So I saw a lot of schools, I've seen those, but obviously mainly towards, I can say, more urban areas than in rural areas. Okay. Participation in learning. So you can see participation of learning has also increased. Female participation, average time spent. Rural children are spending more time on sports than urban children, because urban children are now into mobile phones. A drastic improvement from previous sense, we can say. Like from Congress to Aam Aadmi Party, now BJP. Okay. Yes, Ravel. Now community participation. So this is the next slide from your comment only. Community participation, innovative pedagogy. Okay, so need for attention beyond elementary level. It means it's not just elementary level. Post that, retention must also be there. Okay, so higher education obviously important, and higher education and skills. But here the most important thing is quantity without quality is costly. Okay, if you want, you can write this line. Quantity without quality is costly. Is always costly. So, despite improved enrollment at a foundational stages, secondary net enrollment ratio remains low. It means dropout ratio is there. How will you address the structural gap? Okay, so integrate the schools so that they don't have to change the school. And then improve the infrastructure essential for continuity and retention. And community participation as a catalyst. So again, community participation is important. See, community participation is very important for a country like India. It's a large, huge demography, huge geography. If you think that everything will be the responsibility of the government, won't be able to change much. Okay. Successful community mobilization model. So here you can write some examples from Andhra Pradesh, from Assam, from Haryana. So these examples are important. Okay. So that is driving large enrollments through community engagement. Community level is important. Like India produced millions of graduates, but firms struggle to find job ready workers. And all will be done from the starting, from the like grassroots level. Okay. So that encourage collaborative learning, confidence, expanded into advanced subjects like coding, robotics. These are the things. Increase enrollment and strengthen community volunteering. Recognized globally with Community Choice Award. So teacher communities, motivation, building teacher network using technology. Peer learning platforms and institutional recognition enhances motivation, reduce isolation. These are the things important. Teacher communities supports policy implementation at the grassroots level because teachers are the strength. But teachers have a lot of other work as well, admin work. Then whenever there is election, you put teachers there. If you have something in your town, you put again teachers there. So education is never a priority, and I think that should be changed. Okay. So community based learning is a decent step in that direction. So here you can say PME Vidya. So shift towards meaningful assessment and accountability. So move beyond rote learning. This is very important because if your mind is not towards diagnostic, feedback driven improvement, it will not be there. So feedback driven improvement, like for example, in colleges and in school, we run after certificates, we run after degrees. But in real life, there are challenges. There are problems that you need to diagnose. Then you need to provide solution, implementation, take accountability and responsibility. So if you will be teaching those since the beginning, then people find it very easy later on for that. Okay. This like education subject is very near to me. That's why you may feel that I'm bit emotional in seeing things, but because I have seen these things very near in my career. So people are there, funds are there, people want to do good as well, but still somewhat it is not happening. Okay. So can you see outcomes? Okay. Grade third mathematics proficiency rose from 42% to 65%. Language proficiency is also there. Post pandemic, rural students government schools showed strong recovery. ASER 2024 confirms foundational learning improvements. Need to move from aggregate score to diagnostic assessment. This is very important for your answer writing. Okay. Now, improvement in learning outcomes. So, shift towards competency based assessment. Okay. Like post pandemic recovery in foundational learning. So, here, all those things. Girls slightly outperformed boys in language. Rural students performed better than urban peers. So, that is where. Again, you can see a strengthening monitoring mechanism. This is very important. That's what Ravali is also saying. Policies are there, support is there, implementation is a problem. Most of the cases, too much corruption in education system. I think blaming corruption only is somewhat, I can say, not really a matured opinion. But I feel that corruption on the other hand is okay. Chalo, theek hai, मान लिया corruption hai. But if teacher and student, if they are doing their duty with their accountability, then you can easily overcome with the problems. The problem is about accountability. Nobody understands that this is your responsibility. People are like, ये मैं क्यों करूं? And that's the problem. So social emotional concerns. We can see the first point, very important. Now, somebody asked me that right now the young population is facing the problem of attention deficit. Attention deficit they are facing. Do you agree? Attention deficit. People are not able to see the full reel of 30 to 60 seconds. Do you agree with me that people are lacking? The new generation, the school students, maybe in college, maybe you yourself consider. Do you think that they lack attention? Attention deficit is there? Okay. The answer is no. I don't agree. I don't agree about attention deficit. Why? Because right now, if I talk to youth, I talk a lot to the young generation. And I have posted one post on like on my Instagram as well. Gen Zs versus millennials, my experience working with them. So can you tell me, do you binge watch TV series? Okay. Like a good TV show will come on Netflix or maybe other OTT platforms. People are doing binge watching. And when they have attention deficit, how they are able to do this? Can you tell me the shows that you have seen recently? Anyone? The names? Just tell me the names. Okay. Like people are having 30 seconds on signal. They will start scrolling their phone. Suppose, for example, when they sit for some minute, during cricket match, I have seen when there's an ad of 30 seconds, people started scrolling mobile phone. Yes, people watch full cricket matches. Family Man season, you can say Brooklyn. Not for now, but you must have seen in the past, or you will see in the future after getting into the services. Okay. So less than half feel emotionally safe, limited accommodation, and trained teachers for children with special needs. So these are the issues. It's not about है ना डेफिसिट और वाई स्टूडेंट जब स्कूल में कुछ होगा ही नहीं तो nobody will go now. This must be an interesting place. Why you guys come daily at economic survey? At least for 30-35 of you find it interesting. That's why you come. So when things are uninterested, nobody will come. Okay. So you can see improvement in learning outcomes. So you can see during COVID, this is the graph. Now come to higher education. Higher education in there. So expansion of institutes and access, higher education institutions. Now institutions are increasing, but simply I say that they are just selling degrees, no skills. है ना? Growth in universities, so you can see numbers are growing, colleges are also growing, medical colleges are growing. है ना? Expansion of premier institutes like IITs, IIMs, AIMS. Okay. So including international campus of IIT in Zanzibar and Abu Dhabi. So you see progress is there in higher education. Increase in enrollment and GER, gross enrollment ratio. है ना? आयशे data. Academic reforms, flexibility, national credit framework. Okay, so ranking universities, giving credits, accreditation and all. Okay. Strengthening research and technical education, important for professional education. So these things are there. Here you can say regulatory reforms, Viksit Bharat, Shiksha Adhishthan to replace fragmented regulatory body like UGC, AICT, NCT, unified body. Role of state public universities, हालत बहुत खराब है इनकी, है ना? Industry academia integration, This is important. Introduction of professor of practice to bring industry expert into classrooms. That started to happen. It started to happen. AICT industry fellowship, strengthening the innovation ecosystem as well. Research parks, iSTEM portal. Because if we don't do research, we'll always be dependent on Western countries. Quality benchmarking, so NIRF ranking, you must have seen colleges ranked on the basis of this. And an internationalization effort like 100% FDI allowed in higher education, dual degrees, foreign universities, and a study in India initiative to attract foreign students from Africa. I hope you have seen African people studying with you. People from Nepal, Bhutan, Afghanistan, you must have seen. See, it must be lucrative for the students to give their primary time. Improvement in infrastructure. You can see the universities, colleges, medical colleges. Like right now, degree and colleges are only for eligibility to give competitive examination. Developing state capacity to strengthen higher education. So you can say central role in state universities, gender inclusion progress. Now the reason is simple. Because the problem of curriculum rigidity is there. Weak industry linkage and limited vocational path. Vocational education is not that good. Like no one goes into formal education. Abroad, if you have certain technical skills, you go there and find the employment. The UG degree, PG degree, people go only for research. सबकी हालत ऐसी है बेटा. It's not about central university, state university. Relatively better central university, but things are same. So that's the problem. Problem is rapid growth in certification based skill courses, but not the real skill. I met one student who said I have a certification in AI and I know AI. I go, what is AI? I asked about, because I'm learning advanced level AI, automation and all, coding and all. I'm not from engineering background, but still I'm learning because there's a new skill. How will I teach if I don't know what's going on? So the reason is simple. When you're learning new things, you learn. Don't show that I have a certificate of AI. What did you learn? So Chat GPT. Chat GPT is not AI. Chat GPT is a tool. If you have seen, there was a movie full AI based, Mahabharat, full series. On Geo Hotstar. Have you seen that? Full Mahabharat series developed by AI only. Do you know video platforms like HeyGen creating realistic videos? I have created my clone from AI. How? I have uploaded my 10 videos there. So it captured my face and everything. Now I've uploaded the script. And now he's producing videos. Although I'm not uploading those videos. So if you see me in videos, I am the real one. But that is possible. That is right now we are seeing AI influencers as well. Have you seen AI influencers? They're not real. So AI is going next level. If you just understand Chat GPT, I'm not saying ChatGPT. It's like same for Gemini, same for other as well. Okay. Hagen is a platform. If you want to try, you can try. I know hundreds of tools of different sector. Okay. Yes. तो कल को मैं भी अपना क्लोन बना के आपको क्लास में भेज दूंगा. देन आई विल बी अनएम्प्लॉयड. ठीक है. चल. देन इंडस्ट्री एकेडमिया कोलैबोरेशन लाइक आईआईटी मद्रास है ना, IISC. How close industry linkage enhance research quality innovation. Okay. Strong government industry academia coordination, triple helix model, STEM education. Okay. So these are, if you don't collaborate with industry, education doesn't matter. Remember, education started just because to provide employment. If there's a mismatch, there's no use of education. Devash is saying AI cannot replace me. Thank you, Devashish, but yes, where you need execution of certain things, especially when people are at different levels. AI cannot replace them, but AI can change their nature of work. Okay. So significant vacancies in faculty position, limited industry readiness, etc. These are the gaps. And a role of ranking also should be transparent. It should not be corrupt. Should not be corrupt. And like all the private ratings. मुझे भी प्रपोजल आया था एक बार, मैं आपको बताता हूँ. You start ranking economics colleges because people see Ecoholics as the economics educator, a platform. So sir, you start like publishing a list of colleges where a student can do masters or can do undergrad. मैंने कहा as soon as I will start publishing, I will be in trouble. Then universities will come and sponsoring just to get the higher rank, and people will not get the real picture. So transparency is important. And emerging transformation in higher education like edtech platforms like Ecoholics, and there are several others. So that traditional institutions facing creative destruction. Remember which theory of creative destruction is there? Can anyone tell me? Okay, so here I'm sitting in one place and teaching almost throughout the country. Yes, Schumpeter. So those who are preparing for civil services, please remember this name. Creative destruction already asked in UPSC prelims. Internationalization of higher education. Okay. Yes, Ravali. Internationalization of higher education. But Ravali, startups are doing, but nobody knows the real worth. Every student is like, I know a lot of things. I know English. I know language. And I know my skills. So first they have to acknowledge that they don't know what industry requires. जब तक acknowledgement नहीं होगा, it's difficult. Okay. So national education policy aims at India's higher education globally competitive and self-reliant. Focus on attracting foreign students, reducing outbound migration, and global standards are important. So regulatory and structural reforms. So we have seen 100% FDI, UGC regulation, dual degree, etc., etc. Here you can say world-class institutions globally. Students are mobile, mobility has increased. So you can see since 2001, you can say the data comparison is a very long, in terms of years, you can say almost 21 years. Indian students are also going abroad, and outward remittances also there. So remittances are also helping. Regional programs, so you can see education hub in South India, major inflows from Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Afghanistan. And in your colleges also, you must have seen people from different parts of India's neighborhood. Then this is very important for your exam. Okay, educational tourism strategy, like cultural heritage, yoga, Ayurveda, philosophy, classic arts. These are the things. Diversifying offerings beyond full degrees, short-term courses, summer schools, semester abroad. These are the things. Okay, so that will help exposure of the students. Now it comes to health. Okay, the second part of our chapter, that is health. Now health is a short because there's a lot of data. The data you need to improve, you need to remember is on this page. Okay, like MMR. Okay, under 5 mortality rate, neonatal mortality rate, infant mortality rate. Everything is declining. Okay, so here you can say that infant mortality rate, it means a baby born 0 to 1 dying before turning 1. That is infant mortality. And that is very unfortunate. So, health is not just about survival, it determines productivity, learning ability, and labor participation. Okay, health is not about survival, but it is about productivity, learning ability, and labor participation. Labor participation and learning ability. अरे क्या हो रहा है पेन को? Learning ability, labor participation, and productivity. That is healthcare. Now, India has improved on life expectancy. India has improved on maternal and child health. India improved on disease control. But challenges remain as it is. Okay? Yeah. So, here you can say drivers of improvement. What are those drivers of improvement? Neonatal intensive care units. Okay. You can see early intervention, like first 28 days, are critical. So, these are the two areas. Maternal care improved. Institutional deliveries are there. But when you see on the ground level, the situation is not that good. Even you can say it's worse. So India has leveraged digital infrastructure. Ayushman Bharat is there. Ayushman Bharat digital mission. E-Sanjeevani, telemedicine. If you are in remote areas, you can access doctor. You know? Hospital management information system, better transparency. ICT intervention, insurance, service delivery. Insurance is a game changer in India. Indian health sector, insurance is a game changer. Without insurance, difficult. Then AI and innovation. This is very important. AI driven things, very important. Okay. And this institution in Chandigarh and Rishikesh, AI centers of excellence. I don't know what is happening there, but yes, India is doing progress in AI. है ना? Shift towards preventive and public health. So emphasis is on prevention, promotion, primary health care. Triple P. Okay, continued focus on nutrition and immunization, because that's where you can predict and save. Then tackling obesity challenge. In India, this is a challenge is coming. Previously, it was not there. Okay. So I saw a video of my uncle, है ना. I think it was 1997 Bharat. I saw people were dancing and they all were very thin, very fit. No fast food was there, no obesity problem was there. You must have seen video recordings of 1997 to 2000, 2003, and in the 20th century. So tackling obesity challenge. Obesity is an emerging public health issue. Like sedentary lifestyle. I also have sedentary lifestyle. Unhealthy diets. If you don't find anything, you eat junk. Increasing consumption of ultra processed food. So me and my wife also took action in this. We don't have ultra processed food in our home. So when there is nothing, you won't crave. Okay, makhana is very healthy. So we have those makhana. Mungfali roasted, like these things. So when you don't have, we have fruits. You can eat banana if you feel hungry. So these are the things you have to challenge obesity. Health and economic impact. Non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, hypertension. So that increases healthcare cost. People don't do lipid profile and then they realize their sugar, their like cholesterol level, etc. out of control. I've seen in my colleagues. I do lipid profile test every birthday. Sometimes it gives tension, but yes, if you know your data, I'm an economist and I love the data. Okay, so my cholesterol level is around 90. It was highest 107. So the same lines, if you have food proper, you will have these things. So promotion of healthy eating, reduction of sugar, salt, fat intake, etc. Eating late at night, like when I started my classes at late, I used to have dinner before class so that I do not eat late. So these are the things that is public focus areas where you can just do behavioral change. Like here it is, multi-sectoral strategy, long-term goal. Parallel rise in obesity, you can see men, women, UPF consumption in India, ultra processed food, UPF. So you can see consumption. So from 0.9 to 37. Okay. Digital addiction, that is another psychological impact. Psychological impact. So how? Reduced attention span due to constant notification. Like I always switch off my notification. Because if I need to do something, I will go in that particular app and open that and do the work. Why I need notification? People who put notification, they are highly paid because they nudge the consumers. Multitasking, another big problem. Another big problem. Last year, I think last year, 2023 ODI World Cup, I caught one of the faculty was watching cricket match while teaching. So multitasking, obviously, not a thing to do. Increase distraction, reduce productivity. Like when you are on laptop, you use full screen. So full screen means focus on that particular thing. Don't do multitasking. Phone here, laptop here, 2-3 screens. Unless until if you are a web developer or a coder, you need 2-3 screens, then you need. Otherwise, you don't. Psychological impact. So there are psychological impacts like anxiety, depression, stress. This is very common these days. Sleep disturbance due to excessive screen time before bed. Social media exposure leading to low self-esteem. Because on social media, everywhere, everyone is posting good things. Okay. Suppose, for example, if I lost certain money on a stock market, I will not post that. But if I earn, I will post it. अगर मुझे किसी ने ले ऑफ किया है तो मैं नहीं डालूंगा. But if I get a new job, I will post it on LinkedIn. है ना? So the FOMO comes in, and that is impacting on children and youth as well. Okay. So what I'm saying that is putting everything out of context doesn't make sense, but yes, improving it, controlling it, and you should know the boundaries. It's important because healthcare is having a long term cost. Okay. Global and national response to digital addiction. South Korea initially introduced a shutdown law restricting late night gaming for minors. Okay, which was later replaced in other control models. China enforced fatigue system, limiting online gaming timing for minors using real name registrations. Singapore used community-based approach, promoting responsible digital citizenship through Media Literacy Council. United Kingdom digital resilience framework for schools and policymakers. Many other countries introduce school-based digital resilience programs. है ना? On Australia, ban under 16, social media ban. So that's how other countries are tackling social media addiction among youth. है ना? In India, if you do, again people will come on roads. That's the problem in our country. People say कोई चेंज होता नहीं है, कोई चेंज करने नहीं देता. But क्या होता है? You know that people, children of the age of 11, 12, they are having Instagrams. उसमें क्या एज लिमिट है? ID is not required. It's possible. So data and research needs, two things are there in healthcare, like usage pattern, health outcomes, okay, sleep quality, anxiety, depression, education, workplace, finance impacts, safety outcomes. Yes. Yeah. See, everything has two things. Sugar is very good and sugar is very bad. On the same lines, social media is good, social media is bad. Laptop is good, mobile is bad, laptop is bad. See, everything is good or bad, depends on how you use it. So instead of just teaching your kid, you teach to use that smartly. आपको पता है, एक चीज बताता हूं मैं आपको. I've seen this personally. In China, there was a survey in China and USA. In China, when you ask a kid, what will you become? They will say scientist. They will say, I will become a XYZ person. Scientist बनेंगे, astronaut बनेंगे, ये बनेंगे, वो बनेंगे. And the same question you ask American kid, they are saying we will become a vlogger, social media influencer. So that's the difference. China is protecting everything, the whole ecosystem. एक स्टूडेंट ने मुझसे कहा था क्लास में, सर मैं सिर्फ देखी हुई चीजों पे यकीन करता हूं. He said, sir, I only believe on those things which I have seen from my eyes. I asked, तूने जापान देखा है? देखा है तूने जापान? कहता नहीं. तो मैंने कहा जापान नहीं है मतलब? जापान है. आप में से किसने देखा जापान? किसी ने नहीं देखा होगा. Nobody went to Japan. है ना? तो बेटा कुछ चीज है ना, मान लेनी चाहिए. कुछ चीज अच्छी है चाइना की, हमको जबरदस्ती गलत बताया जाता है. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर हमको चाइना सही लगेगा तो हम भी चाइना जैसी चीजें मांगेंगे. अब ये सारी चीजें, व्हेन यूथ टॉक अबाउट दिस शिट लॉजिक, थैंक यू फॉर योर सपोर्ट, बट मुझे बड़ा गुस्सा आ गया था उस टाइम तो. सो वे फॉरवर्ड इज दिस, लाइक डोंट नो एनीथिंग बट यू हैव ओपिनियन अबाउट एवरीथिंग, है ना? देन वी हैव मल्टी स्टेक होल्डर इंटरवेंशंस, अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम इन कॉलेजेस, वर्क प्लेस, टेक्नोलॉजी फ्री जोन्स, ओके, जहां नेटवर्क नहीं आता. That is why I go to Ladakh for 2-3 days every summer and I reset my life. I sit on a Pangong lake when there is no network because of defense issues. It's India-China border. And then I sit with my pen, paper, diary. And if I am not able to go, I create one at my home. Kaise? I do not do recharge of internet. Digital diets, device free periods. Like me and my wife is having rule that if we are eating, either we will watch TV, but we will not operate phone. Okay. Community based device free spaces. Okay. Karnataka's digital detox center beyond screens. That is why you saw in rural areas people are more inclined towards sports. है ना, देखा ना आपने? That is why. This is for youth and schools. Screen time literacy, cyber safety, and a mental health awareness. So you should know how to regulate. If you don't regulate, you will be regulated by someone else. Family engagement, again, I have explained almost all those things in the previous slide. So you can see regulatory platforms, and screen time limits, device free hours, shared offline activities, etc. So, okay, so there are healthcare integration as well. So I like this chapter a lot because this chapter is addressing the real problem. It's not about healthcare of traditional healthcare. That's the problem. But this is a new problem that survey is addressing. Okay. So India faces dual burden in health and education, both communicable and non-communicable diseases and digital addiction. So mental health is an issue. Anxiety, depression, reduced social connectedness, nutritional gaps. Gitu is saying parents used to scare us. But right now we have to take care of parents. They are becoming addicted to phone. है ना, ऐसे ही था ना 10 साल पहले माँ बाप आपको बोलते होंगे कि फोन इतना यूज मत करो. राइट नाउ इट्स ऑपोजिट. दे आर यूजिंग मोर फोन देन यू बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव टाइम. वो दिन उनका स्क्रीन टाइम देखो 6-6 8-8 घंटे का स्क्रीन टाइम है. नीड फॉर ओपन डायलॉग एंड अवेयरनेस, है ना, एनकरेजिंग पब्लिक डिस्कोर्स, मेंटल हेल्थ, स्क्रीन टाइम हैबिट्स, लाइफस्टाइल डिसीजेस, normalizing conversation to foster collective awareness and action. हाँ, font size, brightness, volume, उल्टा हो गया. Plus that to a loudspeaker as well. हर बच्चे का दर्द निकल निकल के आ रहा है कमेंट सेक्शन में. So this is how leveraging technology for the outcomes. Yeah. So mainly what I can say is, in short, higher returns if you invest on human capital, especially in early childhood. Health system is good, great, but digital health records, telemedicine, these things will help. So this is how Indian economy can recover. And public engagement, role models, nationwide campaigns via Doordarshan, social media to highlight the role models, etc. So holistic vision for resilient future. This is important. On the basis of that, we will write one paragraph. Okay. We will write one paragraph. And that's it for today's chapter. Ready to write, everyone? Ready in the chat box? Okay. ठीक है, चलो लिखते हैं. Economic survey underscores that India's long-term growth prospects. Economic survey underscores that India's long-term growth prospects depend critically on the quality of its human capital. Depends on the quality of its human capital rather than merely expanding access to education and healthcare. Full stop. While indicators have improved, while enrollment and basic health indicators have improved significantly, persistent learning gap, comma, skill mismatches, and preventive health burdens, threaten to dilute India's demographic dividend. Full stop. The chapter argues for a decisive shift. Towards outcome-oriented education policy. Preventive healthcare, and early life investments. Comma, recognizing human capital. As a core driver of productivity. Comma, inclusiveness, and sustained economic growth. That's it. Full stop. Okay. So that's it for this chapter. I'll see you in the next chapter. If you have question, concern, you can ask me.